Bonjour and welcome back to Le Podcast de Philippe. Today, we're diving into something pretty interesting in the world of online security.
Oh, yeah.
The FBI is actually telling everyone to stop using SMS for two-factor authentication.
Interesting.
Le FBI nous déconseille laissement pour l'authentification. On utilise quoi alors?
Yeah, that does seem a little strange considering it's
Yeah.
not like they're exactly known for being big on privacy.
Yeah.
But when you really look at how vulnerable SMS is, it actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Why the FBI is saying ditch the SMS for two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
And we'll look at some more secure ways to protect your accounts.
Yeah, this really shows how much cybersecurity is always changing.
Right.
Even these big institutions are starting to realize that holding on to old methods can put everyone at risk.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the most surprising things we found in our research is that SMS messages are basically as secure as sending a postcard.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because they were never really designed with security in mind. Like, when those SMS messages travel over the phone networks, the content's basically just out there in the open. Anyone with the right tools and access to those networks could grab your authentication codes.
So it's basically like writing your password on a piece of paper and handing it to some random person.
Exactly. And there's a really good example of how risky this can be. Remember the Salt Typhoon incident?
Yeah.
Where hackers, supposedly backed by the Chinese government, managed to snag a ton of SMS authentication codes.
Yeah, that was a huge wake-up call for a lot of security experts.
Yeah.
Including the FBI, who are now really pushing for people to drop SMS-based two-factor authentication
Makes sense.
and use something more secure.
It's a big change for them because they're basically admitting that a method so many people rely on is just flawed.
Yeah, for sure. So the big question is, if we dish SMS, what do we use instead?
Right.
Luckily, there are some really effective and easy-to-use alternatives out there.
Yeah, one of the most popular and convenient options is authentication apps.
Oh, yeah. Like Google Authenticator or Authy.
Mm-hmm.
Those apps generate unique codes that change all the time right on your device. You don't even need to rely on the phone network.
And because those codes are created using these super complex algorithms and are always changing, it makes it really tough for hackers to intercept and use them.
So it's like
Yeah,
having a digital lock that keeps changing its combination every 30 seconds.
that's a great way to put it. And the best part is so many online services, like everything from social media to banking apps, work with these authentication apps now.
So you could probably secure most of your accounts just using one app.
Yeah, and it's not just about convenience either. These apps work even when you're offline, which is a huge plus compared to SMS.
Right. So even if you're traveling or in a spot with bad reception, you can still get into your account securely.
Now, if you want something even simpler, some services will send you push notifications for login verification.
Oh, right. So instead of typing in a code, you just get a notification on your phone when someone tries to log in from a new device.
Exactly. Then you just approve or deny the access with a single tap.
Yeah, that's a really user-friendly approach to two-factor authentication. It's like having a security guard constantly watching your accounts for anything suspicious.
Yeah, and in Europe, they have something called Secure Pass that adds even more security, especially for like financial stuff.
Oh, interesting.
What's cool about Secure Pass is it's built right into banking apps.
Oh, so you don't need a separate app or rely on SMS.
Exactly. You approve payments and things right through your bank's platform.
So it's like a more streamlined and secure way to do things.
Exactly. And if you really want to go all out with security, there are these things called physical security keys.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
They're these little devices, usually USB keys that you plug into your computer when you log in. They're super secure because they use cryptography that's almost impossible to hack remotely.
So it's like a physical key for the digital world.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, there's a trade-off. Security versus convenience.
Right. Carrying a physical key isn't always the easiest thing.
But for accounts with really sensitive information, or if you're worried about being targeted, those keys give you a level of peace of mind that's hard to beat.
That makes sense. And then there's biometrics, which are getting more and more common,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
like on our phones and other devices.
Things like fingerprint scanning and facial recognition often get used with other methods to add another layer of verification.
Oh, it's like making sure it's really you.
Yeah, it's like having multiple locks on your front door, making it way harder to break in.
But we can't talk about two-factor authentication without mentioning something that's still in development. DNA authentication.
Ah, the future.
While it's not mainstream yet, all the advances in DNA tech suggest it could be huge for high security stuff down the line.
It's fascinating to think about.
Imagine unlocking your phone or even verifying your identity with just a DNA scan.
It sounds like sci-fi, but the research is moving so fast.
Yeah, it does make you think about privacy and potential misuse, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
So as you can see, there are tons of options for securing your online accounts besides relying on SMS.
Yeah, the main takeaway is that we can't just sit back and assume everything's fine.
We have to be proactive and take control of our own online safety.
And the FBI saying to ditch SMS is a big reminder that even things we've used for years might not be good enough anymore.
It's a wake-up call for all of us to stay informed, adapt, and use stronger security measures.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe one day we'll all be logging in with a quick DNA scan.
That's a future I'm both excited and a little scared to see.
Me too. But until then, let's all do our part to stay safe online.
Well said.
So there you have it. We've covered why ditching SMS for two-factor authentication is so important.
And we've looked at some great alternatives you can start using right now.
Yeah, the best one for you really depends on your needs and how much security you want.
Right. And the good news is most of these options are pretty easy to set up and use.
Exactly. You don't need to be a tech whiz to make your online security a lot stronger.
So what really stood out to you from all of this?
For me, it's that we need to move past this idea of cybersecurity just being about reacting to threats.
I totally agree. It's about being proactive and taking charge of our own digital safety.
And the FBI's advice to ditch SMS really shows that even the methods we've relied on might not be enough anymore.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call for all of us to stay informed, change with the times, and adopt better security measures.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe someday we'll all be logging in with a quick DNA scan.
Now, that's a future I'm both excited and a little freaked out about.
Same here. But until then, let's all do our part to stay safe online.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive into the world of two-factor authentication.
If you found this episode helpful, head over to Le Podcast de Philippe on YouTube.
We've got a ton of videos exploring all sorts of fascinating topics just like this one.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like if you enjoyed it.
And until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay secure.